2051 pickup. If I'm not mistaken, Jian Wushuang will arrive in Bronze Heart region in no time. By then, the 7 of us will apply battle formation and join forces with Mr. Demon King to hem him in. Then, kill him, a lady in a white robe who stood among the 7 great emperors said coldly. The battle formation that the 7 of us will form is best at trapping people. As long as Jian Wushuang comes to Bronze Heart region, no doubt, he will die. Yes, he will die. The other few great emperors said. They were obviously confident about their battle formation. They were waiting patiently too. The time continued to fly past. In the vast void in 3 Emperors' world, Jian Wushuang continued to plunge forward. The direction in which he was flying led to Bronze Heart region. Demon King Chen Yu and the other great emperors saw, and they continued to follow closely behind him. Demon King Chen Yu smirked in his heart when he saw the direction Jian Wushuang was plunging in. Jian Wushuang, even though you have impressive skills, your final outcome is death. You can't escape 3 Emperors' world. Demon King Chen Yu knew that there were 7 great emperors waiting at Bronze Heart region. When Jian Wushuang got there, he would work together with the formation of the 7 great emperors to take down Jian Wushuang. That was the plan in his head. However, just as Jian Wushuang passed another region, there were less than 3 regions to reach the Bronze Heart region. Swoosh! Jian Wushuang suddenly plunged in another direction. He flew towards another void. What? Demon King Chen Yu suddenly grew glum. From what he saw, Jian Wushuang should have continued to rush to the Bronze Heart region. He definitely has to go there. Emperor Bai in Sanctuary Alliance had already commanded the experts in Sanctuary Alliance to pick Jian Wushuang up from Bronze Heart region. Emperor Bai gave a command and the great emperor in Sanctuary Alliance had already departed. They were really rushing to Bronze Heart region. Of course, Jian Wushuang has to go there too. Did he do that to confuse me? Demon King Chen Yu creased his eyebrows and said. It was merely his suspicion, but it was a feasible suspicion. Jian Wushuang's following actions cleared up his suspicion entirely. Because after Jian Wushuang passed through another region, he continued to plunge to a region further away from Bronze Heart region. DMN it. This boy didn't intend to go to the Bronze Heart region at all. Demon King Chen Yu instantly roared in anger. At the same time, he sent a message to question him. What's going on? Didn't you say the great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance are going to pick him up from Bronze Heart region? Why doesn't this boy look like he is going to Bronze Heart region? However, on the other side of the communication token, the reply was simple and straightforward. He said that it was really Emperor Bai's command and the great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance were reaching Bronze Heart region. In other words, Emperor Bai's command was true and the fact that great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance were going to pick up Jian Wushuang was true also. However, Jian Wushuang going to Bronze Heart region was fake. SHT. Demon King Chen Yu's heart skipped a beat and he instantly understood. This boy never intended to head to Bronze Heart region. Emperor Bai sent the great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance to Bronze Heart region to confuse us. They definitely found out that our spy is among the higher-ups in Sanctuary Alliance. Hence, they beat us at our own game. They used our spy to give us a piece of false information. DMN it. We were fooled. Demon King Chen Yu's face grew grave. There was no doubt that they had been schemed against by Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai. Jian Wushuang had never thought of going to Bronze Heart region. He had been running in the direction of the Bronze Heart region because he was pretending. Now Jian Wushuang had already stepped foot in the border region of 3 Emperors' world. In this region, there were 2 figures waiting for Jian Wushuang. The 2 people were Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao. The 2 of them who stood in the void saw Jian Wushuang appear at the end of their sights and they looked thrilled. Ha ha, Jian Wushuang. Sword Emperor. The 2 great emperors immediately greeted Jian Wushuang. Abysmal Saint Master, Emperor Zhu Qiao, long time no see. Jian Wushuang laughed heartily and the 3 of them quickly gathered. Jian Wushuang also stopped running away. As he was there, it was not necessary for him to escape anymore. Hong! Demon King Chen Yu's demonic might spread and he appeared not far from Jian Wushuang and he stopped too. Then, the total of 13 great emperors who had followed the lead of Ling Zong. They followed behind since Imperial Peak. Demon King Chen Yu and the 13 Green Emperors were staring at Jian Wushuang. It was as though they were going to eat Jian Wushuang alive. Jian Wushuang, you are really skillful. Since you escaped Imperial City, you have been running in the direction to Bronze Heart region. You intentionally made us think that you were running to Bronze Heart region, but in the end, you came to this region? Demon King Chen Yu's voice was cold. Humph, I knew the movements of Sanctuary Alliance so well. Why would I run to Bronze Heart region and fall into your trap again? Jian Wushuang sneered. Demon King Chen Yu, you must think I'm stupid. But I am certain that there's really a double agent among the higher-ups in Sanctuary Alliance because of this. Demon King Chen Yu's face grew grave, but he wasn't surprised. Jian Wushuang did it on purpose. He had obviously made use of the double agent. You are not stupid, but you are too proud of yourself. You should have left 3 Emperors' world without hesitation, but you stopped. You gave me another chance to kill you. Demon King Chen Yu's gaze was cold, and the jade ruler in his hand shined with a bright light again. The jade ruler was one of his very impressive treasures. It could turn into a sturdy yellow sand realm. However, as the yellow sand realm had been broken once, it would need some time to be repaired and used again. Now, after another round of chasing, the yellow sand realm had been repaired. He could totally perform it again. Hence, he naturally had another chance to kill Jian Wushuang. However, Jian Wushuang flashed a malicious smile when he heard what Demon King Chen Yu said. Demon King Chen Yu, I think you misunderstood something. Now, the person who should run isn't me. It should be you. Demon King Chen Yu was stunned. The next moment, at the end of the void, there was a figure in a grey robe that appeared and was slowly walking over. He had white hair and white eyes. Even his skin was terrifyingly fair. He was a man, but his beautiful face would put all the women in Eternal Chaotic World to shame. His charming appearance with his fair skin made him look aloof. However, his arrival made Demon King Chen Yu's eyes dilate in shock. Emperor Bai. 2052 Emperor Bai came. The person who was walking over was Emperor Bai. He walked over leisurely and his footsteps were slow. However, his footsteps in the void were ringing like a heavy drum roll in Demon King Chen Yu's and the other great emperors' heads. 1 step, 2 steps. Demon King Chen Yu looked unprecedentedly solemn. Emperor Bai was a legend in Eternal Chaotic World. He was also widely known as the strongest one. In the beginning, Demon King Chen Yu had even turned his nose up at Emperor Bai. Because he had never fought with Emperor Bai, he'd never thought he would be weaker than Emperor Bai. Not long ago, he had heard from Leng Rushue that Emperor Bai had injured Lord Fen badly. Hence, he couldn't help but have scruples. Now, Emperor Bai had appeared before him. Mr. Emperor Bai. Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master, Emperor Zhu Qiao bowed to Emperor Bai. They weren't surprised by Emperor Bai's arrival because it was originally within Jian Wushuang's plan. Jian Wushuang wanted Emperor Bai to command the great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance to pick him up from Bronze Heart region so that it would mislead the experts in 3 Emperors' world. At the same time, Emperor Bai had to come to this region himself. Emperor Bai was the person who was truly taking Jian Wushuang. Emperor Bai nodded, but his eyes were fixed upon Demon King Chen Yu. Such demonic might. You should be the one from Akron Palace, Demon King Chen Yu. Am I right? You know me? Demon King Chen Yu stared at Emperor Bai. Of course, Emperor Bai smiled faintly. I know all 3 experts that were left back then. Among the 3 of you, only Lord Fen fought with me. You will be second. I wonder how your power is compared to Lord Fen. There's only one way to find out. Demon King Chen Yu was outraged. He moved and took the initiative to pounce on Emperor Bai. On the way, the divine weapons in his 8 arms suddenly swept out fiercely. His terrifying might reached its limit. Emperor Bai remained composed at the sight. However, there was a huge golden shadow that soared up behind him immediately. The golden shadow was a golden emperor. He was 99,000 zhong tall and 3,000 zhong broad. His golden eyes looked smug. He looked down as though everything living thing in the universe should yield to him. Emperor Bai fought too. His slender arms instantly raised his fists. Then, there was a condensation of explosive power. Open. A word was uttered. The golden shadow that was 99 jong tall behind Emperor Bai clenched its right hand too and condensed boundless force. As Emperor Bai punched, rumble. The void in front immediately shattered. It swept away everything. It was as though nothing, not even the universe and the space-time, could take the punch. The terrifying punch collided with the 8 divine powers that Demon King Chen Yu wielded. Bang! There was suddenly a loud bang that spread. In the middle of the battlefield, the crimson broadsword that tainted the universe red fell to the side. The originally fierce club flew to the side. The huge mountain that was transformed by the seal cracked from the middle and collapsed. Every divine weapon that brought about powerful attacks dissolved under the punch. Even Demon King Chen Yu himself took a few steps back. But then, Emperor Bai, standing in front of the 99 jong tall golden shadow, took a stride forward. As he took the stride, rumble. The surrounding space-time pressed at Demon King Chen Yu. Demon King Chen Yu was only fighting against Emperor Bai alone. However, he felt like he was fighting against the entire universe. There was a large amount of golden light that burst out and formed a golden ocean of divine power. In the golden ocean of divine power, Emperor Bai attacked continuously. Bang! 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 There were loud bangs, and every single one would strike fear in any great emperors. It constantly resounded from the core of the golden ocean of divine power. Jian Wushuang stood outside the golden ocean of divine power, but even he could feel the billowing movement. He couldn't help but feel astonished. However, the battle only took place for a short while. Swoosh! There was a figure that burst out from the golden ocean of divine power. The figure belonged to Demon King Chen Yu. The difference from before was that Demon King Chen Yu looked pale now. He had 8 arms, but 2 of them were broken. His aura was obviously much weaker than before too. Humph! A cold humph reverberated in the universe. The golden ocean of divine power slowly dispersed and the scene within was slowly exposed. Emperor Bai stood there perfectly intact. The 99,000 jong tall shadow was still there. His aura grew even more terrifying. However, he looked at Demon King Chen Yu in anger and disappointment. Demon King Chen Yu, at first I thought that if you were one of the 3 who survived, you should be on par with Lord Fen. Even if you were not much stronger than Lord Fen, you shouldn't be much weaker. However, the facts show otherwise. You are far behind Lord Fen. Emperor Bai's cold roar reverberated through the universe. When I fought Lord Fen, at least I had to take out all I had to defeat him or to even severely injure him. But you don't even make me go all out. Go away. Emperor Bai waved, and the wave contained boundless might. Demon King Chen Yu stood there. He heard Emperor Bai's remark and his face was red and white from embarrassment and anger. The fire in him ignited too. However, no matter how angry he felt, he knew that he wasn't Emperor Bai's match. Hence, he would merely be humiliating himself if he were to continue the fight. Emperor Bai, I lost today. But don't be too happy about it. In no time, I will take revenge. When I do, I will bury you along with eternal chaotic world. Demon King Chen Yu bellowed and turned and plunged into the far-off void without turning back. Even Demon King Chen Yu was suppressed and he could only leave. Why would the 13 great emperors, who could do nothing to Jian Wushuang, stay back? They immediately left too. In the vast void, there was only Emperor Bai, Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao. Emperor Bai watched Demon King Chen Yu as he left, but there was a strange light shimmering in his eyes. He muttered, "The 3 experts that survived, I fought with Lord Fen and Demon King Chen Yu fought with me. Both of them lost to me. There is only Kaiser Blood who was the strongest. Kaiser Blood. I wonder when I'll get a chance to fight with him. I hope that his power is stronger than Lord Fen's and Demon King Chen Yu's. He'd better not disappoint me." 2053 left 3 emperors, World Demon King Chen Yu and the others left. Jian Wushuang's danger naturally was resolved. Then, the 4 of them plunged out of 3 emperors' world. In eternal chaotic world, in the vast, dark void, the dark millstone that was a few times bigger than a holy kingdom in size had already stopped spinning. In an unnoticeable corner of the dark millstone, there were a few figures that pushed through layers of prohibitions and came out. "Ha ha, we're out. We are finally out. Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao looked at the surrounding dark void and they looked overjoyed. Jian Wushuang was filled with excitement too. Over the years, they had been wandering in Three Emperors' World. In Three Emperors' World's land, they had to be cautious and alert at all times. Any careless mistake and they would be doomed forever. They had finally returned to the eternal chaotic world. As they returned, they were the masters and they could finally relax. The Emperor Supreme Rock was destroyed and the Dark Millstone has been stopped entirely. Our mission was a complete success, Abysmal Saint Master said in surprise. VAR Axid 6327 document, element biodex ID 6327, SSP 6327-math, floor date now. Windowed at pubic stag, windowed pubic stag, windowed pubic stag, thanks to Sword Emperor. If it wasn't him, the few of us might not even have been able to destroy the Emperor Supreme Rock. Emperor Zhu Qiao smiled. Jian Wushuang shrugged and let out a breath of relief. It's a pity that Ji Luo won't be able to walk out of Three Emperors' World with us. Otherwise, our mission could have been considered perfect. Hearing Great Emperor Ji Luo's name, Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao became quiet. Among the four-member expert troupe, the three of them had survived, but Great Emperor Ji Luo would forever stay in Three Emperors' World. Ji Luo died for Sanctuary Alliance. Sanctuary Alliance and also the entire eternal chaotic world won't forget about her, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao nodded. This aside, Mr. Emperor Bai, how's the situation at Bronze Heart region? Jian Wushuang asked. Just as we thought, Three Emperors' World has sent experts to wait for your arrival there. Earlier, they fought with our great emperors from Sanctuary Alliance, but I sent them a message asking them to return not long after they started fighting. I reckon they will leave Three Emperors' World soon too, Emperor Bai smiled. The Dark Millstone stopped spinning and the Great Formation collapsed. Hence, the messages could go to and fro in the eternal chaotic world and Three Emperors' World without any hindrance. It was unnecessary to rely on Emperor Zhu Qiao's doppelganger to send a message anymore. It's really working as such? Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes with a tinge of coldness. Jian Wushuang, your plan was wonderful. Not only did you escape from Three Emperors' World, you also verified something for Sanctuary Alliance. That is that our enemy's spy is among the higher-ups of Sanctuary Alliance, Emperor Bai said. However, although we know that there's a spy, it is hard to determine who the spy is exactly. Emperor Bai asked in a deep voice. Jian Wushuang, Abysmal, Zhu Qiao, who do you think is suspicious? Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao exchanged a glance, then both shook their heads. There is a total of 13 great emperors. There are 14, including Jian Wushuang. Putting the four of us aside, for now, there are 10 other great emperors and the spy is hidden among the 10 of them. As long as they didn't give themselves away, I don't think it'll be easy for us to determine, Abysmal Saint Master said. That's true. At least I won't be able to gauge who the spy is. As for a suspect, I don't have anyone in mind either, Emperor Zhu Qiao said. Needless to say, among the 14 great emperors, it was impossible for Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai to be spies. Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao had known of the plan beforehand, while Three Emperors' World fell right into Jian Wushuang's trap. Hence, the two of them naturally weren't suspects. They could eliminate the four of them, but there were still 10 great emperors left. Among the 10 great emperors, Red Dragon, Chen Chen, Zishu, Colored Glaze. I feel like none of them are. Abysmal Saint Master creased his eyebrows. He obviously couldn't think of anyone suspicious. But then, Jian Wushuang was in deep thought. Suddenly, he spoke. Well, I suspect someone. Who? The three of them immediately looked at Jian Wushuang. Great Emperor Zishu, Jian Wushuang said. Zishu? Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao creased their eyebrows. Great Emperor Zishu was an extremely ancient great emperor in Sanctuary Alliance. He never questioned any worldly affairs. Plus, his temperament and reputation was good too. Could he be a spy? Jian Wushuang, tell us your reason, Emperor Bai said. I am not certain that Great Emperor Zishu is a spy, but I find him suspicious. I have 2 reasons. Firstly, real God Wu Bei's death. Jian Wushuang said. Wu Bei? They looked surprised at the answer. I know about real God Wu Bei. Although he is an inverse cultivator, his talent and comprehension level are ordinary, Abysmal Saint Master said. Yes, real God Wu Bei's talent and comprehension level are SOSO. However, due to the fact that he is an inverse cultivator, if he were to really step foot in the 7th step of inverse cultivation, he would also possess the fighting power of a great emperor. He would even stand a chance to become a top great emperors, equal to you, Abysmal Saint Master, Jian Wushuang said. However, he only reached the 6th step before he died. The person who killed him was Demon Heart Kingdom Monarch, which is widely known. However, when my power reached a certain level and I went to kill Demon Heart Kingdom Monarch to take revenge on behalf of real God Wu Bei, Demon Heart Kingdom Monarch said that the reason he killed real God Wu Bei was that Great Emperor Zishu had commanded him to behind his back. Judging from the situation then, I don't think he was lying. The three of them were surprised to hear the story. Great Emperor Zishu had commanded Demon Heart Kingdom Monarch to kill real God Wu Bei. From what they knew, real God Wu Bei had never come across Great Emperor Zishu, let alone had dealings with him. On top of that, even if real God Wu Bei had really offended Great Emperor Zishu, he could totally have killed him directly. There was no need to go through the trouble of getting Demon Heart Kingdom Monarch to kill real God Wu Bei on his behalf. He had even told Demon Heart Kingdom Monarch to be tight-lipped. There must be a reason behind it. Jian Wushuang, what you mean is that Great Emperor Zishu was worried that real God Wu Bei might step foot onto the 7th step of inverse cultivation and become one of the great emperor fighting powers of Sanctuary Alliance. Hence Zishu killed him in secret? Emperor Bai guessed. That is the only possibility, Jian Wushuang said. That's possible, Abysmal Saint Master suddenly said. Mr. Emperor Bai, Sword Emperor, speaking of Zishu, I do find him strange. Oh. Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai looked at Abysmal Saint Master. Sword Emperor, you know this best. Back when you had yet to step foot in the 7th step of inverse cultivation, there were some great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance, including myself, that didn't wish to see you grow. I even found ways to kill you then. Abysmal Saint Master took a glance at Jian Wushuang solemnly. 2054 The Suspect Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and looked at Abysmal Saint Master strangely. He had shared resentment with Abysmal Saint Master before. Abysmal Saint Master had looked for an opportunity to kill him back then. However, after a trip to Three Emperors World, their resentment had naturally been resolved. Now, both parties held no grudges. They could even be considered great friends. Jian Wushuang understood Abysmal Saint Master. Although he was jealous, he wasn't one that acted hastily. Abysmal Saint Master paused and continued, I wanted to kill you, Sword Emperor. However, my intention was frank. All the great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance knew that I didn't want to see you grow and be above me. I wasn't hiding anything. However, Zishu was different. Before the danger of eternal chaotic world was revealed, before I really took action against you, Zishu once revealed his intention to kill you when he was talking to me. In our conversation, now that I think back, there was a tinge of incitement in his speech. Incitement? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Great Emperor Shizu wanted to kill him and he'd incited Abysmal Saint Master to come after him? However, Great Emperor Zishu behaved rather gently and humbly when he'd met Jian Wushuang. He didn't reveal anything different. Besides Abysmal Saint Master, the other great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance couldn't have known that Great Emperor Zishu had wanted to kill him. From what I know, Zishu is laid back and gentle. He never questions the affairs in Sanctuary Alliance. He almost never takes the initiative to offend anyone, but he killed real God Wu Bei in secret and wanted to kill you, Jian Wushuang. Forget about the fact that both real God Wu Bei and you were only real gods and had never once offended him. On top of that, both of you are inverse cultivators. Now, that's interesting, Emperor Bai muttered and his voice was cold. Of course, with that alone, we can't be certain that Zishu is a spy. It is most likely he isn't as broad-minded as we thought he was, Abysmal Saint Master said. That's true, Jian Wushuang nodded. However, I have another reason that led me to suspect him. Abysmal Saint Master, do you remember Great Emperor Colored Glaze invited you and Great Emperor Zishu to join forces to come to Green Fire World? Of course I do. I thought we were going to win for sure. We never thought that you would be so powerful and that you would have another mysterious expert who assisted you too, Abysmal Saint Master said. The mysterious expert is Lord Spirit Sound. We go way back. Jian Wushuang smiled. Back then, Lord Spirit Sound suppressed Great Emperor Zishu. However, after the battle ended, she told me that Great Emperor Zishu had intentionally held his power back. What? Abysmal Saint Master looked in shock. Zishu has been hiding his power. Emperor Bai creased his eyebrows too. Jian Wushuang's eyes contained a chilly gleam. After Lord Spirit Sound fought with Great Emperor Zishu, she had told him to be careful of Great Emperor Zishu because she could tell that Great Emperor Zishu wasn't as simple as he looked. One should know that the power that Great Emperor Zishu had put on display had already gotten him the 5th place on Eternal Chaotic World's Heaven and Earth Supreme ranking list. He was already so powerful when he held back his power. Just how strong would he be if he were to put his full power on display? It seems that Great Emperor Zishu was really not as simple as we imagined him to be, Emperor Bai said in a low voice. Although he always saw Great Emperor Zishu, he had never fought with him. Hence, he couldn't tell if he was hiding his power. However, Lord Spirit Sound was an expert from ancient times and she was powerful. Plus, she had fought with Great Emperor Zishu head-on. She definitely wouldn't come to that conclusion out of nowhere. With the 2 reasons and what Abysmal Saint Master said earlier, I believe that Great Emperor Zishu is the biggest suspect, Jian Wushuang said. Of course, he had only said suspect. He couldn't be sure. After all, he didn't have any evidence. As long as we have a suspect, we can slowly investigate. When we return to Sanctuary Alliance, I will investigate it personally, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang and the other 2 great emperors nodded heavily. Oh yeah, one more thing. Jian Wushuang spoke again. Many years back, when I was still in the 6th step of inverse cultivation, I once went to Emperor Sword Sect when Lineage of Star was in a dangerous situation because of the news about Star Palace Master's passing. When I was on my way back, I came across a mysterious expert who tried to assassinate me. The mysterious expert was extremely strong. I believe he wasn't much weaker than Underworld God, who was in the 1st place among Emperor Gods. Plus, he had a move that exploded the fighting power of a great emperor. Back then, it was a great threat to me. Even now, I don't know who the mysterious expert was, nor do I know who sent him. However, one thing I am sure about is that he absolutely wasn't an expert from Akron Palace, because Akron Palace once attempted to assassinate me and I knew their methods. If they wanted to assassinate me, they absolutely wouldn't only send him alone. They would plan meticulously. Emperor Bai heard and nodded faintly. The expert who tried to assassinate you, I will investigate him personally as well. Holocaust Sect and Akron Palace have been in the dark in Eternal Chaotic World for so many years. They finally took action and they are definitely well prepared. Over the years, they shouldn't have only placed 1 or 2 of their men in Sanctuary Alliance. As the Dark Millstone stopped, we of Sanctuary Alliance don't have to be in a hurry to fight them. During this time as we prepare for war, let's find out everything. Emperor Bai's eyes were gleaming. He was obviously angry. Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Ju Chao saw and nodded faintly. Sanctuary Alliance and Eternal Chaotic World had been at peace for too long. In peace, there was definitely hidden decay. There were spies that the enemy had placed and it was time to root them out. As the 4 of them chatted, they returned to the buildings in the surrounding dark. Not long after the 4 of them returned, the great emperors that Emperor Bai commanded to get Jian Wushuang from Bronze Heart region returned too. These great emperors had gone and taken a trip to Bronze Heart region. However, they didn't see Jian Wushuang but had met some experts from 3 Emperors World. Both parties had fought but it led to neither victory nor defeat. Emperor Bai had sent them a message and they'd left in time. On their way back, these great emperors were still confused as they had yet to find out the cause and effect. However, there was one person who understood. The person was naturally Great Emperor Zishu. He looked rather at ease but he was in distress. It seems that Emperor Bai has already realized that there is a spy among the higher-ups in Sanctuary Alliance, but I wonder if he will suspect me. 2055 70% winning chance. After the great emperors returned to Sanctuary Alliance, they immediately received the news about Jian Wushuang's return. The great emperors were naturally surprised. Although some of them had noticed something fishy, they didn't say much. Then, Emperor Bai hosted a victory banquet at the surrounding of the Dark Millstone. The 4-member experts troupe that was sent into 3 Emperors' World had destroyed the Emperor Supreme Rock, and the Dark Millstone had stopped spinning. It could be described as destroying the sword above the head of countless cultivators in eternal chaotic world. With such a great contribution, they, of course, deserved a celebration. The banquet was extremely grand, and some emperor gods participated too. During the banquet, many experts, including those great emperors, toasted Jian Wushuang. Even great Emperor Colored Glaze and Yang Zun, who had once held grudges against Jian Wushuang, were sincerely celebrating with him. As for Abysmal Saint Master and Emperor Zhu Qiao, they contributed a lot too. They were well respected. After some drinking, everyone, Emperor Bai suddenly stood up and looked at all the great emperors and emperor gods. The biggest hero who stopped the Dark Millstone is Jian Wushuang. Secondly, it was great Emperor Ji Luo who passed away. Then, Abysmal and Zhu Qiao. Come, everyone. Let's raise our glasses to the 4 of them. Everyone at the scene raised their glasses. Jian Wushuang stood up too. Then, he said in a deep voice, to great Emperor Ji Luo, to Sanctuary Alliance, to eternal chaotic world. To great Emperor Ji Luo. To Sanctuary Alliance, to eternal chaotic world. All the experts repeated the words and drank the wine in their hands. After they drank the last glass of wine, Emperor Bai said, although the Dark Millstone has stopped, eternal chaotic world's danger has never been removed. Holocaust Sect and Akron Palace are still there, as well as the 3 Emperors' World with countless experts. As they have already exposed themselves, they will definitely fight eternal chaotic world until the very end. This war is inevitable. After today's banquet, everyone please get ready soon. The final war between eternal chaotic world and 3 Emperors' World will be here soon. Go ahead. Emperor Bai waved and everyone at the banquet was dismissed. After the banquet ended, various sects and experts continued to prepare. However, as the Dark Millstone had stopped, the preparation wasn't as pressing as before. On the other hand, Emperor Bai started investigating the matter about the double agent in Sanctuary Alliance. The person that he focused on in his investigation was Great Emperor Zishu. Of course, his investigation was done in secret. Besides the few of them, no one else had any idea. 3 Emperors' World, in the boundless dark void. Lung Rushue, Demon King Chen Yu, and the blurry bloodman known as Kaiser Blood, the 3 of them gathered again. Years of hard work. To prepare this Dark Millstone, all of us paid a great price and prepared for so many years. In the end, it was all destroyed in a day. Kaiser Blood's voice was cold with boundless anger. Demon King Chen Yu was naturally furious too. That was normal. The Dark Millstone was what they had intentionally prepared to wipe out all experts in eternal chaotic world. It was absolutely their killer move. The moment they'd sent out their killer move, they could have made eternal chaotic world vanish without much effort. For that, they had paid too great of a price and put in too great of an effort. They'd taken years to prepare, just for that one day. In the end, because of Jian Wushuang, their preparation had been in vain. Of course, they could only blame themselves for belittling their enemy. At first, they'd thought that the Emperor Supreme Rock was guarded by many great emperors in Imperial Peak and it would be perfectly safe. In addition, the Emperor Supreme Rock was sturdy itself. Without a certain level of power, it couldn't be cracked. Hence, they hadn't cared much about the 4 members experts troupe to begin with. But they'd never expected that Jian Wushuang's power as an inverse cultivator could be so outrageous. After he'd performed the secret skill of Star Palace, he'd exploded a power that had exceeded the power of a great emperor and destroyed the Emperor Supreme Rock. Hence, it had led to such an outcome. It's already happened. It's too late to regret it. I'd rather we first think about what we should do next. Leng Ayu Shui, who had been sitting the whole time, suddenly spoke. What to do? What can we do? Demon King Chen Yu roared and his eyes were simmering with anger. Even without the Dark Millstone, with the forces of Akron Palace, Holocaust Sect, and 3 Emperors' World combined, we can fight head-on with Eternal Chaotic World too. On top of that, Akron Palace is already immersed in the forces in Eternal Chaotic World. Our chances of winning are at least over 70%. If so, what are we afraid of? Let's fight head-on. Lung Rushua creased her eyebrows, then she looked to Kaiser Blood. Chen Yu is right. Without the Dark Millstone, with the three of our forces combined, our winning chance is still extremely high. My only concern is that there will be more accidents and we will have to bear greater losses, Kaiser Blood said. Humph, as long as we can destroy Eternal Chaotic World, we will achieve our final goal. So what if we suffer greater losses? Demon King Chen Yu humphed coldly. That's true, Kaiser Blood nodded. If so, let's get ready immediately. My Three Emperors world has conserved strength and built energy for so many years, and they are so loyal to the Three Emperors. As soon as I send a command, the experts will immediately gather. On the other hand, the experts in Akron Palace and Holocaust Sect, are they ready? Don't worry. The experts from my Akron Palace are well prepared, Demon King Chen Yu said. My Holocaust Sect is ready too, Lang Rushua said. If so, tell them to rush over at their fastest possible speeds in order to form into a huge military force with the expert in Three Emperors world. Then, let's fight Eternal Chaotic World, Kaiser Blood said. All right, Demon King Chen Yu and Lang Rushua nodded heavily. Oh yeah, Demon King Chen Yu, Kaiser Blood suddenly turned to look at Demon King Chen Yu. In Three Emperors world earlier, you fought with Emperor Bai. The corner of Demon King Chen Yu's lips twitched when he heard Emperor Bai's name, but he nodded. You look like Emperor Bai taught you a lesson, huh? Kaiser Blood sneered. Humph, Emperor Bai lives up to his name as the strongest man in Eternal Chaotic World. He is much stronger than me. No wonder Lord Fen was defeated. That's normal, Demon King Chen Yu humphed. Then, he lifted his head and said, Kaiser Blood, don't be too happy. Judging from Emperor Bai's power, I'm afraid he is stronger than you too. If you were to run into him, it might not end well. Oh. I'll wait and see. Kaiser Blood smiled maliciously, and there was an eerie crimson light that surged in his empty eye sockets. The void went completely silent. 2056 Origins. After the banquet ended, Jian Wushuang naturally returned to Green Fire World. There were many experts in Green Fire World, including Jian Wushuang's family and friends. When they found out that Jian Wushuang had returned, they were naturally surprised. Although Jian Wushuang had only left for 30 years, they knew that Jian Wushuang had gone to an extremely dangerous place. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang had come back alive. After a simple gathering with his family and friends, Jian Wushuang began to cultivate again. He knew clearly what he wanted to do, which was to constantly increase his power. Then, he could protect his hometown, his family, and his friends. In the blink of an eye, 20 years flew past. In the past 20 years, no matter if it was Eternal Chaotic World or Three Emperors World, they had been preparing for the upcoming war. No one from any party would start a war before full preparation was done. At least, neither party had fought for the past 20 years. In the secret room in Wushuang City, Jian Wushuang had sat quietly as he studied the sword principles. Suddenly, vroom! There was a fierce aura that suddenly soared up from within Wushuang City. The aura was accompanied by strong divine might. Jian Wushuang was immediately shaken. He plunged towards the source of the aura without hesitation. When he got there, he saw a destroyed pavilion and a figure slowly rising. The person looked at Jian Wushuang smilingly. Father! Jian Wushuang quickly greeted in excitement. The figure that soared up was his father, Jian Nantian. Then, Jian Nantian wasn't giving out an aura of a chaotic real god but of a Sir God level. An almighty. His father had become an almighty. Father, congratulations, Jian Wushuang laughed. He'd seen Jian Nantian break through and he felt even happier than at seeing his own breakthrough. Because he clearly knew what Jian Nantian's breakthrough represented. It meant that besides himself, the first almighty in Green Fire World had been born. Jian Nantian was the first among all cultivators in Green Fire World to step foot on the almighty level. With the first person becoming almighty, would the second and third almighties be far away? In no time, various forces and experts in Green Fire World rushed over. When they saw Jian Nantian break through, the experts congratulated him on his achievement. At the same time, they grew excited in anticipation. Palace Master, congratulations! Hall Master Yuan's consciousness embodiment came to congratulate him too. Jian Wushuang smiled and then asked, Hall Master Yuan, how is Lineage of Star doing? Has Universe Galaxy fully recovered? Thanks to Palace Master, the spiritual influence of heaven and earth in Green Fire World is very pure, far purer than Purple Moon Sanctuary by dozens of times. With such intense spiritual influence of heaven and earth, Universe Galaxy is almost fully recovered. It will be much more powerful than before too, Hall Master Yuan smiled. As for Lineage of Star, everything is in order. Plus, the environment in Green Fire World has benefited the disciples of Lineage of Star too. They have improved tremendously. Now, Lineage of Star not only continuously gives birth to real gods, even almighties, we have already given birth to 2 now. Oh! Jian Wushuang beamed with joy. Almighty! Back in Purple Moon Sanctuary, there were only 4 almighties in Lineage of Star, including Jian Wushuang. It was extremely difficult to even produce one. However, Lineage of Star had been at Green Fire World for less than 2,000 years, but there were already 2 almighties. The speed was naturally far beyond Purple Moon Sanctuary. Palace Master, your lineal disciple is cultivating in seclusion too. When he exits seclusion, I reckon he should become an almighty too, Hall Master Yuan smiled and added. Jian Wushuang was surprised. He had a total of 2 lineal disciples. He had first taken in Lin Lan. After all, he was from ancient worlds. He had limited talents. Although he had received many resources for nurturing due to Jian Wushuang, he would at most become a chaotic real god. It was almost impossible for him to break through and become an almighty. The other one was the extremely talented He Xiao. He has extremely gifted himself. On top of that, Jian Wushuang had mentored him. He had already shown his spurs in Eternal Chaotic World long ago. Then, he had already reached the peak of chaotic real god. Next, he was naturally aiming for almighty level. It was within Jian Wushuang's expectations. Oh yeah, Hall Master Yuan, regarding what I told you to check, how was it? Jian Wushuang suddenly asked. I got it done long ago and I am certain that the guy, Chen Hu, who you left in the commoner's world in Qingqian Mystery Land, had already passed away 6,000 years after you left Qingqian Mystery Land, Hall Master Yuan said. Passed away. Jian Wushuang creased his eyebrows, but he had been mentally prepared. Chen Hu. Jian Wushuang had met him when he was going through his 3rd inverse cultivation test. Then, he had lost all his divine power and become a fragile old man, so he could only go for training in a commoner's world. He had gotten to know Chen Hu there and they had been through a lot. Chen Hu could be considered as half his disciple. Later on, he had passed his 3rd inverse cultivation test and he had regained his power. When he'd left Qingqian Mystery Land, he'd left behind a test for Chen Hu. As long as he could pass the test within a time limit, he would send someone to pick him and bring him to Eternal Chaotic World and take him on as his disciple. After tens of thousands of years, he didn't feel anyone taking the test that he'd left behind. Then, he realized that Chen Hu might have passed away. Actually, Chen Hu worked hard to improve and he was very close to passing the test that you left there. However, 6,000 years after you left, Qingqian Mystery Land went through a drastic change and stirred up a great war. Chen Hu, as the leader of one of the parties, although he fought with his all, was defeated and he passed away during the war, Hall Master Yuan reported. Jian Wushuang sighed emotionally, but he could do nothing about it. One's fate was in one's hand. Just like himself, he had been through so many life and death dangers until he'd reached where he was. Green Fire World had also been through many obstacles and challenges until it could secure a standing in Eternal Chaotic World and hold such a position. If it didn't pass any threshold during the process, the ending would be entirely different. Now he was facing a similar situation. Eternal Chaotic World and 3 Emperors World were going to fight a life and death war. As one of the peak existences in Eternal Chaotic World, he would either lead Eternal Chaotic World and defeat the other party or be vanquished alongside Eternal Chaotic World and Green Fire World. 2057 Investigation Result Green Fire World has used the painstaking efforts of the ancestors and the lives of experts to finally be where it is today. I am not going to let it ruin in my hand. Eternal Chaotic World has to win this war. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands tightly and his eyes were glaring. Just then, Jian Wushuang, hurry up and come to Thunderbolt Island, Emperor Bai sent him a message. Jian Wushuang was surprised. He handed down some tasks before he headed over to Thunderbolt Island. Thunderbolt Island was still the core cultivation place in Sanctuary Alliance. Although there was Green Fire World, only genius disciples from Eternal Chaotic World who got to be in Green Fire World. The experts above real god level had never once entered Green Fire World. The lowest requirement to enter Thunderbolt Island was to be a void real god. Hence, one equal to a genius cultivation sanctuary and the other one equal to an opportunity land for experts to gather. Both places were different. Jian Wushuang got to on Thunderbolt Island through a space-time wormhole. Then, he went directly to Sanctuary Mountain. On his way there were naturally many real gods or almighties who saw him. It's Sword Emperor. I heard that Sword Emperor performed extraordinary deeds for Sanctuary Alliance. He is now one of the higher-ups in Sanctuary Alliance. He is holding quite a high position. I heard that too. There is even a rumor saying Abysmal Saint Master and Great Emperor Colored Glaze's position and power are below Sword Emperor's. Seriously? How long since Sword Emperor started cultivation? This is crazy. Many experts complimented in secret. Although it had only been 20 years since the war in Three Emperors World, Jian Wushuang had received his recognition in Sanctuary Alliance. Due to the position and power of these real gods and almighties, they didn't know much. However, among the higher-ups, the great emperors acknowledged that Jian Wushuang was only second to Emperor Bai. Sanctuary Mountain, on a huge estate. There were 3 figures waiting patiently. Very soon, Jian Wushuang arrived in the estate. Mr. Emperor Bai, Abysmal, her ancestor Qian Chen is here too? Jian Wushuang was surprised as he looked at ancestor Qian Chen next to him. Jian Wushuang, Qian Chen is absolutely trustworthy. It is impossible for him to be the enemy's spy. During this time, Qian Chen and I have been investigating the spy in secret, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang nodded faintly, not suspecting anything. Among the great emperors in Sanctuary Alliance, the most impossible person would be Ancestor Qian Chen. Let's get into the business. Ancestor Qian Chen spoke directly. Sword Emperor, Abysmal, we look to you today because there was a result from the investigation of Great Emperor Zishu. How is it? Jian Wushuang asked closely. We still can't be sure that Great Emperor Zishu is the spy. However, through some special tactics that Mr. Emperor Bai and I used to investigate him, we got some information. Both of you, take a look. Ancestor Qian Chen passed a token to Jian Wushuang and Abysmal Saint Master each. Jian Wushuang and Abysmal Saint Master looked through the tokens carefully. Their eyes dilated in shock as they went through the tokens. Seriously? Great Emperor Zishu killed so many people in secret? And all of them were top geniuses. Jian Wushuang lifted his face and his eyes were filled with shock. In the token, there was a record of various methods with which Great Emperor Zishu had killed the top geniuses in Eternal Chaotic World. There was a total of over a dozen pieces of information. In other words, Great Emperor Zishu had killed over a dozen top geniuses and all the top geniuses had stood a chance to become peak Emperor God. 3 of them could even have turned into Great Emperors. But in the end, they were killed by Great Emperor Zishu in secret and it was done very secretively. There was no sign pointed at him in the outside world. If it wasn't only because they already suspected Great Emperor Zishu to begin with, but also because Emperor Bai and Ancestor Qian Chen used many unique ways to deal with the experts who worked for Great Emperor Zishu. They were afraid that there were more deaths that were related to Great Emperor Zishu. Lord Hatred, he was the one who killed Lord Hatred. Abysmal Saint Master creased his eyebrows. Lord Hatred was a top genius who could have swept over Eternal Chaotic World 2 million years ago. He was widely known as a super monster then. He was extremely gifted. After a short cultivation period of over 100,000 years, he reached Sir God level and he was powerful. It was said that when he first reached Sir God level, his comprehension of doctrine was on the 9th level of Doctrine Palace. In short, he was the standard of a great emperor. He was so powerful that he could easily defeat an emperor god at Sir God level. Back then, he had been extremely famous. It was merely a matter of time until he became a great emperor. He might even be on par with Red Dragon King and Abysmal Saint Master, or he might be stronger than them. However, such a super genius had suddenly passed away. Back then, The experts in Eternal Chaotic World said that Lord Hatred was assassinated by the experts from Akron Palace. Hence, no one suspected anything. Until then only they had found out that Lord Hatred died in the hands of Great Emperor Zishu. The geniuses who were removed by Great Emperor Zishu in secret, the weakest could likely have become a strong emperor god, while the more impressive top geniuses, like Lord Hatred, could totally become the strongest fighting power in Sanctuary Alliance. But in the end, before they could grow up, Great Emperor Zishu killed them in the dark. These geniuses shared no resentment of him. Plus, he had killed the geniuses secretly. No one in the outside world knew about it. Why does he want to kill these top geniuses? If the reason of him killing super geniuses like Lord Hatred was because he was worried they might threaten his position, those who weren't as impressive as Lord Hatred wouldn't be able to pose a threat to him. It was unnecessary for him to kill them. With everything mentioned, plus the fact that he hides his true power, Emperor Bai, and I think that the possibility of him being the spy is higher than 70%. Ancestor Qian Chen said solemnly. Only 70%? Jian Wushuang creased his eyebrows. Although it is only 70% and we are not entirely sure, it is sufficient for us to take him head-on, Emperor Bai said. Take him head-on? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Previously, Emperor Bai and Ancestor Qian Chen had only been investigating Great Emperor Zishu secretly. On the surface, they hadn't fallen out with Great Emperor Zishu. To deal with him head-on. Let's go. We shall make a trip to the estate Zishu is staying in, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master and Ancestor Qian Chen naturally followed. The estate that Great Emperor Zishu was staying in was in a unique void in Eternal Chaotic World. The estate was extremely huge, like a paradise. Jian Wushuang, Emperor Bai, Abysmal Saint Master and Ancestor Qian Chen appeared in the void above the huge estate. 2058 Anger. In the void above, Emperor Bai's gaze was cold as he overlooked the huge estate. I intentionally made Zishu leave earlier. Hence, besides his maidservants, his follower should also be in his estate. The follower is extremely important to Zishu. She knows a lot about Zishu's affairs. The purpose of our visit is to look for her. Emperor Bai said, and he waved. There was a boundless divine power that instantly covered the entire estate and cut off the space-time between the estate and the outside world. Jian Wushuang's expression grew solemn. He also knew that it was common for a powerful expert to have a follower. For example, Great Emperor Purple Moon had a follower, Qian Mingzi. He had once lent a helping hand to Jian Wushuang. Let's head in. Emperor Bai commanded, and the four of them immediately plunged into the estate. In the huge estate that looked like a paradise, there was a boat drifting about on the river. On the boat, there was a beautiful lady in a purple robe. I wonder why Emperor Bai suddenly told Master to go over in a hurry, the beautiful lady in a purple robe muttered. Great Emperor Zishu was originally on the boat too. However, he had suddenly received Emperor Bai's message and left. Just then. Heh. The lady in a purple robe suddenly lifted her head to look at the surrounding void. She could sense that the space-time around the estate was completely sealed off. Who is it? The lady in a purple robe shouted. Vroom. The four figures appeared in front of the boat and the four pairs of eyes looked at the beautiful lady in a purple robe. This is Emperor Bai. The beautiful lady in a purple robe's face changed. Didn't Emperor Bai ask Master to go over? Why is he suddenly here and he has purposely sealed off the surrounding space-time? Could it be? The beautiful lady in a purple robe thought of a possibility and she was terrified at heart. But she remained composed. Greetings, Emperor Bai. Greetings, misters. I wonder how can I help all of you? I'd like to ask you something about Zishu, Emperor Bai said frankly. Mr. Emperor Bai, you must be kidding. Regarding things about my master, you should ask my master directly. I believe my master would definitely answer every question of yours. The beautiful lady in a purple robe answered with a smile. You're not willing to answer. Humph, just as expected, Emperor Bai smiled coldly. Then, he took out a crimson pearl. The crimson pearl gave out a mysterious aura. The mysterious aura was soul power. Go! With Emperor Bai's will, the soul power in the crimson pearl instantly burst out. SHT. The beautiful lady in a purple robe's face changed and she wanted to resist. However, her power stood no chance to struggle before Emperor Bai. She could only watch as the soul power invaded her head. Her body quivered and there was a flash of struggle in her eyes. But she instantly calmed down again. Mr. Emperor Bai, what is this? Jian Wushuang looked over suspiciously. This is a unique treasure I got from an ancient battlefield long ago. It contains soul power that could straightaway control someone for a short time for the person to obey your instructions. Of course, the treasure is only useful to experts below Great Emperor level. Plus, this person is merely Zishu's follower and she wasn't soul controlled by Zishu. Otherwise, the treasure wouldn't be effective on her, Emperor Bai smiled. Then, his gaze redirected to the beautiful lady in a purple robe again. Tell me. I want to know everything about Zishu. Yes, the beautiful lady in a purple robe nodded blankly. Then, she started telling him the ins and outs of the story. The beautiful lady in a purple robe who was controlled by Emperor Bai naturally handed over everything she knew on a silver platter. Emperor Bai, Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master and Ancestor Qian Chen listened carefully. In the beginning, they were calm and composed. However, as the story developed, the four of them looked to be in distress. In the end, the four of their faces grew grave. Great Emperor Zishu was really the spy that Akron Palace had placed within Sanctuary Alliance. It was verified by the beautiful lady in a purple robe's speech. Over the years, Great Emperor Zishu had also killed some top geniuses secretly using various methods in Eternal Chaotic World. Actually, most of the assassination was carried out by Akron Palace. However, there were times when it was inconvenient for Akron Palace to take action due to some unique reasons. Then, Great Emperor Zishu would take care of it on its behalf. During the years when he was a higher-up in Sanctuary Alliance, the number of assassinated top geniuses was far beyond what Ancestor Qian Chen and Emperor Bai had found. However, the fact that Great Emperor Zishu was a spy and the issue geniuses that Great Emperor Zishu had assassinated over the years was not what pissed the four of them off. They were truly shocked and angry that the beautiful lady in a purple robe had brought up another force. Vientiane Tower. The #1 chamber of commerce that was widely acknowledged in Eternal Chaotic World. No matter if it was selling information, treasure, resources, or even offering assassination services, Vientiane Tower was known to be #1. And they were greatly related to Great Emperor Zishu. The reason why Great Emperor Zishu could kill so many top experts secretly without anyone in Eternal Chaotic World knowing and the higher-ups in Sanctuary Alliance never suspecting him was that Vientiane Tower was involved to remove all traces he left behind. There were even times when Great Emperor Zishu could have removed the geniuses successfully because Vientiane Tower catalyzed the process. Great Emperor Zishu and Vientiane Tower looked like they had no relations but they were closely knitted. What did it mean? It meant that Vientiane Tower was also a force that Akron Palace and Holocaust sect had placed in Eternal Chaotic World. Vientiane Tower. Emperor Bai bellowed and his voice reverberated through the surrounding universe. Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master and Ancestor Qian Chen were angry too. Vientiane Tower as the #1 chamber of commerce. Just how high was their position in Eternal Chaotic World? How powerful were they? If the widely acknowledged #1 force in Sanctuary Alliance was lineage of Star, the strongest force that didn't belong to Sanctuary Alliance in the human region over the years was no doubt Vientiane Tower. Vientiane Tower possessed power and a foundation that was sufficient for Divine King Island, Soaring Heaven King Palace and other top forces to look up to it. How could such a great force be on the enemy's side? No wonder Vientiane Tower isn't willing to join Sanctuary Alliance. On the surface, they say that they don't want to get involved in the affairs. In actual fact, the information that they are trading stirs up great massacres and fights within Eternal Chaotic World. The Assassin Department has assassinated many experts and geniuses of Eternal Chaotic World over the years. Although they're not fighting, every single movement of theirs will stir up a bloody massacre in Eternal Chaotic World. Ancestor Qian Chen's voice was cold and it contained boundless murderous intention. 2059 Irrefutable evidence Vientiane Tower was too great of a power in Eternal Chaotic World and they were greatly involved. Although they didn't scramble for supremacy, every single one of their movements was enough to affect the entire Eternal Chaotic World. Just like back when Wu Bei's cave came into creation, all forces and geniuses fought over it. It was Vientiane Tower's work. For example, news about the Star Palace Master's death spread from Vientiane Tower too. Hence, it had stirred up the three alliances that rushed to lineage of Star. There were many fights and massacres that seemed to be instigated by Vientiane Tower. On the surface, Vientiane Tower looked like they did it for their own benefit. Then, it seemed like Vientiane Tower purposely sowed discord among the people, and the experts in Eternal Chaotic World killed each other. It had indirectly diminished the overall power of Eternal Chaotic World. Let me ask you, the mysterious expert that I met back when I returned from Emperor Sword Sect, was he sent by Zishu? Jian Wushuang asked in a low voice. Yes, the beautiful lady in purple robe nodded. Then, her figure turned illusory and her appearance and temperament immediately changed. The beautiful lady in the purple robe suddenly turned into a brawny elder in black with tan skin. Jian Wushuang recognized at first glance that the scrawny elder was the boatman in black who had wanted to kill him back then. As expected, Jian Wushuang's gaze turned cold. Temperament and appearance can be changed. This secret skill is extraordinary. Emperor Bai stared at the boatman in black in front of him. Then he waved and the boatman in black vanished into thin air without a chance to struggle. VAR AXID 6327 document element AXO 6327 SSP 6327-math floor date now. Window to pubic stag window pubic stag window pubic stag. Then, Emperor Bai looked at ancestor Chen. There is irrefutable evidence. Let's take action. Not only Zishu, but also Vientiane Tower. They must be uprooted. Mr. Emperor Bai, don't worry. Although Vientiane Tower has been careful in their actions, Sanctuary Alliance found out where their old lair is long ago. We should either stay put or we'll destroy it the moment we attack, Ancestor Chen said. That's great. Immediately gather all great emperors for discussion. On top of that, keep watch of Zishu. Emperor Bai commanded and the four of them left. Sanctuary Alliance was in Presbytery Pavilion where they usually held the highest meeting on Thunderbolt Island. Many great emperors arrived either personally or in their consciousness embodiments. Including Jian Wushuang, Sanctuary Alliance had 14 great emperors then and there were 13 of them there. The only one who never came was naturally Great Emperor Zishu. The great emperors were confused as to why Emperor Bai would gather everyone to discuss. Could it be that Three Emperors World was planning anything major again? Everyone is here. Let's begin. Emperor Bai beckoned to Ancestor Chen. Ancestor Chen stood up and looked around. Then, he spoke in a bright and clear voice. Everyone, I believe that many of you noticed something fishy during the mission to Three Emperors World. That's right, there is a double agent amongst the higher-ups in Sanctuary Alliance. The great emperor's eyes dilated in shock when they heard that. But most of them weren't surprised. Previously, when the four members' experts troops were in Three Emperors World, there had been too many coincidences. On top of that, there was the incident at Bronze Heart region. There was no doubt that there was a spy amongst the higher-ups in Sanctuary Alliance. Everyone knew it but no one spoke about it. Ancestor Chen paused and said, after I investigated with Mr. Emperor Bai for the past 20 years, we are sure of the spy's identity. Everyone, please take a look. Ancestor Chen immediately took out all the evidence that he gathered, including the mirror image of when they had questioned the beautiful lady in purple at the estate, so that everyone could go through them. The great emperors looked through them and his face grew grave. Zishu. Great Emperor Zishu was the spy? It's him. Great Emperor Zishu is so laid back and he doesn't concern himself about worldly affairs. Who would have expected him to be Akron Palace's spy and to have removed so many top geniuses in Eternal Chaotic World? The great emperors were angry. Although some of them were friends with Great Emperor Zishu, their friendship vanished when they found out Great Emperor Zishu's identity. It was replaced with billowing hatred. DMN. My disciple, he was the one who killed him? There was an angry roar that reverberated in Presbytery Pavilion. Everyone looked at East Royal Emperor, who was raging with anger, but everyone was very understanding. The top genius back then, Lord Hatred, had been East Royal Disciple's lineal disciple and he was his proudest disciple. However, he had died in the end. East Royal Disciple was in extreme grief. Now, having found out the true murderer of his disciple, he was of course furious. Besides Zishu, There is Vientiane Tower. They are the enemy's spies. There is irrefutable evidence. Emperor Bai's gaze was cold as it swept over them. I gathered everyone here so that everyone can take action together and uproot Vientiane Tower in the shortest time together. The great emperors looked solemn and raging with murderous intention. Chen, go ahead and make arrangements. Destroy every single branch of Vientiane Tower within eternal chaotic world, Emperor Bai commanded. Yes, Ancestor Chen nodded heavily. Jian Wushuang, Red Dragon, Abysmal, East Royal. Emperor Bai called out the great emperor's names and said, "The few of you follow me to take a trip to the old lair of Vientiane Tower." Yes, Jian Wushuang and the other few great emperors accepted his command. All great emperors quickly took action. The huge robot in Sanctuary Alliance started running. In the 10 cultivation sanctuaries, the sanctuary masters commanded and the sanctuaries started attacking the Vientiane Tower branch. On the other hand, Emperor Bai and the other few great emperors rushed to Vientiane Tower's old lair. Vientiane Tower's old lair was not located within the 10 cultivation sanctuaries but in a remote, dark void that was further away from the 10 cultivation sanctuaries. When they arrived in the dark void, the Vientiane Tower's old lair was operating as usual. Then, Emperor Bai found irrefutable evidence and decided to take action against Vientiane Tower. He rushed to Vientiane Tower at the first moment, and even Vientiane Tower with the greatest intelligence agency couldn't respond in time. Plus, they had yet to find out that Sanctuary Alliance had already prepared to take action against them. Vientiane Tower, as the #1 chamber of commerce in eternal chaotic world, possesses an extraordinary foundation. In terms of almighties, they have more than 30 of them. In Vientiane Tower, there is also a great emperor. Emperor Bai's face looked cold. In eternal chaotic world, not including Jian Wushuang, there were 15 great emperors. 13 of them were in Sanctuary Alliance while the other 2 weren't. But in the dark, there were many hidden experts. However, the experts hardly showed up. Hence, they were unknown. The hidden experts in Vientiane Tower should be quite numerous. 2060 strike like thunder. The great emperor over the Vientiane Tower, I've dealt with him previously. The Red Dragon King said. His ability is considered average amongst the other great emperors, along with the fact that his self-defense mechanism isn't very strong. It won't take much to kill him. The only point to be wary of is his soul ignition. Leave this great emperor to me. You'll take care of those almighties at the tower. Don't let a single one escape, Emperor Bai muttered. I, Jian Wushuang, and the rest nodded. The people began their work immediately. Hong! An abrupt, ear-shattering roar could be heard. The protective array over at the tower's lair could not withstand one blow from Emperor Bai, bursting immediately. The peace and tranquility within Vientiane Tower shattered along with it. Who was that? What's happening? One by one, figures appeared. Upon witnessing the broken array, the experts within the tower were both startled and angered. Right after that, they saw several figures entering through the broken array, pouring themselves in. These people gave off the scent of absolute horror. They were obviously super experts of the great emperor level. Whoosh! An old figure suddenly appeared at the void above the tower. This grey-clothed elder had to be the only great emperor level expect around. This is Emperor Bai? The elder gasped in horror upon seeing the white-haired, white-eyed man. Emperor Bai roared. After investigations conducted by the Sanctuary Alliance, the Vientiane Tower was placed within the eternal chaotic world by the villainous Acheron Palace. The evidence is clear. Today, Vientiane Tower falls. Death without mercy for all experts. Emperor Bai's fearsome roar rang and echoed all around the lair, leaving the experts within the tower pale with fright. They found out? The grey-clothed elder's eyes drooped. He had just thought of his next course of action, only to realize Emperor Bai was already in front of him. Without further words, Emperor Bai made his move. His brutal punch swung out with a bang, destroying everything in its path before reaching the grey-clothed elder. That made the elder's hair stand on end. Having heard in the past how terrifying Emperor Bai was, he naturally gave everything he had to block him. Pong! A mellow roar. The elder's face turned white instantly as he coughed up blood. He had taken a bad hit. But, to survive a punch from Emperor Bai was worth being proud of already, regardless of its strength. Arg! With a fearsome roar, the elder's boundless soul power was burning madly. With death inevitable, he would give everything he has with his soul ignition, for one last battle. However, even though the soul ignition had massively improved his combat ability to a whole new level, against Emperor Bai the Elder stood no chance to retaliate. It only took a couple hits for the Elder to be neutralized by Emperor Bai. Before he died, the Elder had only used 1/3 of his soul power. Even the strongest Great Emperor was annihilated by Emperor Bai's thunder-like strikes. The remaining experts left at the tower were taken aback upon witnessing it. As Jian Wushuang, Red Dragon King, Great Emperor Colored Glaze and others barged into the tower amongst the experts, a massacre ensued, like wolves among sheep. The tower had its share of experts, but against these great emperors there was no place for resistance. Within moments, half of the experts were destroyed. Mercy, have mercy, my fellow lords. We were not aware of the relationship between Akron Palace and the tower, nor have we pledged allegiance to the palace. A cry for mercy surfaced. As one sounded off, the rest followed, all stating that they too were not aware of the relationship. Most of them really were not aware, and had seen themselves as members of the eternal chaotic world the entire time. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang and the others stopped the massacre, and gazed upon Emperor Bai. But Emperor Bai was cold-hearted as one could ever be. Even if there were indeed innocent or ignorant people within the tower has its fair share of moles and spies from the palace. We of the Sanctuary Alliance are not able to distinguish them, nor do we have the time. Desperate times, desperate measures. I would rather kill all than let one mole escape. Determination could be felt from Emperor Bai's voice. The gaze of Jian Wushuang and others turned ice cold. They agreed with Emperor Bai. The Sanctuary Alliance was busy preparing for battle against the Three Emperors' world. There was no way they had the time or effort to investigate and sort out who was innocent, and who was not. To kill them all would be the simpler solution. Even if they had killed a few people by mistake, so be it. Jian Wushuang and others started their massacre again, only this time with unseen resolve. No! The cries and screams of the experts were everywhere within the tower. Against the Great Emperor's death was the only way out. Soon after, the great lair within the tower had quietened down, leaving only corpses and pools of blood. So many experts within the tower, not just the Almighties but also the real gods, cleanly wiped out under Jian Wushuang's blade. After the job was done, they rendezvoused with Emperor Bai. As the lair falls, the remaining parts of the tower can easily be destroyed by the Sanctuary Alliance forces. The tower is finally gone. Abysmal Saint Master said. This is just the surface of Vientiane Tower's power. As the top Merchants Association, the top intelligence agency, and the top killer association, the tower must have sent many experts to infiltrate our Sanctuary Alliance forces. These maggots, we will dig out as many as we can and exterminate them, Emperor Bai said coldly. Jian Wushuang and the rest nodded. Now that the tower's lair is destroyed, leave the rest to Qian Chen. Next, we need to handle Zishu. Emperor Bai pulled a long face. Jian Wushuang, Red Dragon, you two follow me. Abysmal, East Royal, you'll all help Qian Chen with eliminating the remaining Vientiane Tower forces. Aye. The great emperors responded in unison, taking off shortly after. Under Emperor Bai's lead, Jian Wushuang was once again brought to the enormous manor Great Emperor Zishu stayed in. Great Emperor Zishu, he didn't escape? Jian Wushuang stood at the void outside the manor, puzzled. This is the eternal chaotic world. The Sanctuary Alliance calls the shots. I had Qian Chen keep an eye on him way back ago. You think he could escape even if he wanted to? Emperor Bai sniggered. That makes sense. Jian Wushuang realized. In the realm of the Sanctuary Alliance, under close watch by Emperor Bai himself? Even if Great Emperor Zishu wanted to run, he would not have known how.